Why do startups fail? In this video, we're going to take a look at some internal operational issues. Now, we've just reviewed 3 external issues which can become apparent at any stage in a startup's development. But now we're going to take a look at 4 internal operational issues. These are cost pricing issues, poor marketing, ignore customers, and failure to pivot. The first of these then is cost pricing issues. The challenge for any startup is to ensure that they price high enough to cover their costs, but low enough so that they can scale, so that their price doesn't become an impediment to the take-up of their product or service. And of course, cost management is the other side of that equation to make sure that profitability can be achieved. It's important both as a founder and as an investor that you spend time understanding the cash flow and break-even forecast. Really understand at a detailed level, where this money is going to come from. What are they going to sell? How much are they going to sell it for? When are they going to sell it? Who are the customers? And what does this mean then in terms of building up? Can they deliver this quantity of product or service to, on time, to the right quality, etc., etc. So the issues are, all around the product, service, price assumptions. And the litmus test for this is, are the original assumptions being realized early on? Because early failures to achieve even the most basic numbers of sales can be a real warning light that something much more serious can be happening down the road. Another way to look at it is to ask yourself if there's a better way to price the product or service, which will make it easier for customers to understand while still bringing in sufficient cash to the business. So when you think about some of the online models, do you sell on a subscription basis, or do you sell on a one-off basis, for instance? But there's an awful lot one could go into in terms of how you price a product or a service, but at least start thinking about whether there is an alternative. Poor marketing is not a surprise in many sense, because very often founders are a group of really nice but geeky guys who know how to design and make a product. They don't know how to sell it. So what you need to do is to make sure that they know what their market is, they know how to get the attention of their customers, they know how to convert their customers from leads into sales, and then they know how to get their customers to evangelize the product or service so that they can get more growth. So if you're sitting there and your team are all coders or geeks who love building the product but don't know how to sell it, you may have a problem. Now, as an angel or a VC investor, you have an external perspective on this. You can step in and help them to address this weakness by, for example, hiring a CMO. And one of the issues that this will crystallize is the fact that the business just does not develop enough traction quickly enough. Another sin that the founders might be guilty of is ignoring customers. Are they so focused on developing the business that they've stopped talking to their customers? Are the team getting regular customer feedback? Do the new features and the roadmap for the product address customer needs, or do they simply address the team's desire to build a really funky product? Is tunnel vision an issue? You need to encourage the team to continually get customer contact and feedback, and make sure that the founders are talking to customers regularly. Failure to pivot. Well, pivoting is obviously a really difficult and dangerous point. It is often make or break, because the first iteration of the business has not worked and you've got to swing in 190 or 180 or 90 degrees in whatever direction in order to try to rescue the situation. So you're already at a point of criticality, and not pivoting away from a bad product, a bad hire, or a bad decision early enough can be fatal. If you leave it too late, you'll probably run out of money before the pivot can work. So pivoting, if the need comes up, you need to act quickly and decisively. So those are some of the internal operational issues. Now, in the next video, we're going to take a look at some issues which are specific to the management of the startup. So why do startups fail? We've looked at some internal operational issues, and if you're aware of these, these are issues which can be dealt with and avoided. Not always 100% successfully, but at least if you've made an attempt, you haven't just fallen off a cliff without seeing them coming.